Hello, it's the Nichols here. We are on some BLM land here in Utah, and we're going to show you how to set up our rooftop tent. So we have a 23-0 soft shell tent, and we're just going to share a little bit about what we love about it, maybe some cons as well, and we would love to hear what you guys have to say about rooftop tents, whether you like them or not and what kinds you have. So we're gonna head up this road up here to our campsite and start setting up.
Sweet.
We made it to our campsite. We got a nice little V going on here, so it's gonna be a pretty sunset. Yeah, we had to put some rocks under the tires to level it out a bit. That way we're not sleeping on a slant. And we're about to pull this thing open. The first thing you'll do is pull the strap up out of the first loop and out the bottom of the other two loops. After the straps are unhooked, lay them underneath the tent so that they do not flop around and hit the vehicle. Then you'll want to unzip the tent on 3 sides so that you're able to pull the cover over. After flipping the top of the tent over, you can slide it all the way out of the track or leave it attached up against the vehicle. There is another set of straps underneath the cover that you will undo like the first set of straps. These ones help compress the tent and hold it down when not in use. Next, you'll extend the ladder that is on top of the hard frame of the tent, and then using your weight, you will pull the ladder down so that the tent can pop over. When the tent is coming over, you'll want to make sure and click the ladder steps into place to the appropriate height. Once the tent is popped all the way over, you will want to get underneath the vestibule area. There is a metal bar that you'll click into place on the frame of the tent and then push the corner of the bar into the seam of the canvas.
If you need.
Next, you will roll up the outside door to the tent, securing it with the toggle and grommet. Then you will grab the stake bag and the window pull bag from inside the tent. We also have shoe bags that we use that slide onto the frame. Once the tent is staked into the ground, you'll tighten the rope by pulling the upper and then sliding the plastic piece up towards your hand. It's important to weatherproof your tent, so next you'll walk around to the side of the tent where there's a flap. You'll push on the inside and lay the outside flap over, securing it with the Velcro. This helps keep rain and wind out. Then there will be a flap that you will pull over the corners of the frame that also weatherproof the tent. We are going to add some ventilation into our tent by putting the window pulls in. So first you'll want to remove the toggles from the grommet so that we can prop it open. Once the toggles are undone, there will be a hole on the metal frame and a split in the canvas. You will put the pole through the hole at an angle. It does not go in straight back and forth. Once it's in the hole, you'll turn it to where the hook is facing downward and then pull it up to where it comes through the grommet.
All right, well, before we take down the tent and show you how to do that, we're going to give you some pros and cons. We've only had the tent maybe, I guess, 2 months now.
Yeah.
And we really like it so far.
We love it.
It's been a blast.
I would say one of the biggest pros for me is it's really fun because you get a different view being elevated in your tent, but also you feel more protected and safer. I don't think as much about like wildlife on the ground versus when I had the ground tent. Obviously you still want to be cautious.
Another pro for me is just like the ease of setup. I don't know that it's really that much easier than a ground tent, but it is pretty quick, and it's nice that it's always there. Just undo some straps, zippers, and fold it out.
It comes with a 3-inch mattress, so that makes it a lot more comfortable. And then we actually have our sleeping bags, 2 sleeping bags, as well as a large blanket and pillows inside of it. And so we don't even take that out even when we collapse the tent. It all just stays in the tent, which is super nice, makes it more comfortable than a ground tent. If you put your pillows and blankets and whatever, obviously you would have to take that all out if you were in a ground tent, where this is really nice. You just
and a big advantage to that is if it's bad weather or raining or anything, you're not having to move your bedding in and out in the rain.
Yeah. For some cons, the obvious one is price. They are very expensive, so we got ours used and it was still like $1,000. Yeah. And then you also have to pay for how you're going to set it up on your vehicle.
If you're going to set it up on the roof, you're going to have either some crossbars or a rack or something already on there. Depending, you might have to spend more money just to add it on to the truck or car, depending on what you got in your case.
Yeah. However, they do last a really long time. In my opinion, this is way more durable than the ground tent that we have. Just the material that it's made of, it's less likely to tear. It holds up better in bad weather, stuff like that. So I think it's worth it, and we've enjoyed it a lot more than our ground tent. And so, you know, it's different for everybody.
So I think the next con for me is like, in our case, it's on a Ram 2500, so it's a little bit taller. You know, the truck is taller than I am, and so I have to bring a little secondary ladder to kind of help get around. So depending on what size vehicle you have, that can make it more difficult. But even with that, there's other things. You can get a step that kind of goes on the tire, and you can stand on that, and it's pretty sweet. Probably look into getting that down the road. But once you have this thing on there, it is pretty tall, and that could limit you from being able to park in your garage if you keep it on all the time. So those are some things to think about too.
Yeah. And then something that we would also like to get down the road is leveling blocks for your tires. So that can be a tricky part, especially when you're overlanding. There's a lot of uneven ground, and so it's really helpful to have leveling blocks for underneath your tires so that you're not sleeping on a slant, which does happen. Yeah, you can get on terrain that's like really rocky or places that you wouldn't necessarily want to sleep on if you had a ground tent. But with the rooftop tent, it's nice because you have more freedom, I think, to camp in different types of terrain, especially like places you drive up to that maybe you wouldn't necessarily hike up to. So
when taking down your tent, first thing you're going to do is the opposite of what you did going up. We're going to take out our window hooks for the awnings, set those aside, and then we're going to put our little toggles through the little rings here. Take out our shoe bags from both sides and take them inside. Okay, so once you're up in here, we had our skylights open. We closed one during the night to keep it a little warmer. So if you have any of those open, go ahead and release the zippers. Take off the toggles. They'll fall down. And zip it up. Next thing we'll do is we take our little pull cords from each side. The upper one goes down to the bottom, hooks into place. The lower one goes to the upper. And then same thing for this side. All right, so once we got the inside all fixed up the way we want, the last thing I'm gonna do is put the stake bag and the window, the awning cover hooks bag inside the tent before we fold it up. So our next step is gonna be to remove our hooks. So pull them off of our rope there. Cords are pretty long, so I just do a quick little twist here and pull them through in order to make it an easy pull when we get to camp next time. All right, so we'll take this up into here, and now you see this middle bar is where the tent it folds in half. So I try to put these a little bit beyond halfway, that way, and make sure they're sideways. You don't want the tent to fold up and puncture your mattress with them. But everything else in here, it's just gonna go just like that. We'll fold it all up. That's all we got.
yeah.
Let us know what you think
Yes.
In the comments.
Yeah, let us know what kind of rooftop tent you have, whether you're a rooftop tent enthusiast or you're like, no, ground tent is way better. So we would love to know. We absolutely love our rooftop tent. Would definitely recommend it if it fits your needs and lifestyle. So yeah.
Yeah, check it out.